On this episode of Walk a Mile in Their Shoes, we are at Sugar House Park in Sugar House, Utah. And our guest today will be Steve Prasad.
Hi, I'm Steve Prasad. I'm a school psychologist in Granite School District. I've been doing that for 28 years now. I'm looking forward to a few more. I have a wife and two grown daughters, one who lives in California, one who lives here in the Avenues. When I'm not at work, I like being here in the park, in Sugar House Park. It's one of my favorite parks to walk in. I love gardening, I love hiking, I love hanging out basically outside. And I'd like for you to walk a mile in my shoes.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, Jared.
Good to see you, my friend.
Nice to see you too.
All right. Well, Sugar House Park, here we are. It's a great place.
It is a great place.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parks.
Oh, yeah. It looks beautiful. Well, are you ready to go a little mile with me?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
I did 3.5 this morning, so
Hey,
let's do
all right.
another mile.
I did a little over 6.
Oh, very
so
nice.
We're in sync, I think. All right. Well, you have been a school psychologist for nearly 30 years.
Yes.
That's impressive. That's remarkable.
Yes.
If you're like me, you probably get questions all the time of what the heck that is. What is a school psychologist? Would you be willing to share kind of what that is and just kind of what your typical day looks like as a school psychologist?
Yes. A school psychologist, as the name says, is a person who works in a school. My training came through the Graduate School of Education up at the University of Utah. And I like that because it's the same department that has the special education teachers, the principals, the people who are going through like English language learning endorsements. And so you have that group already that you're starting with. So as a school psychologist, I primarily work with the special education team. Now, I guess not primarily, but that's my focus. That's what I do. So that involves a lot of testing, evaluation, even counseling with students who are on IEPs, individualized education programs. So that's with the special education kids. But the nice part too is that you get to work with the general education population too. So there's all kinds of other things that we do. We can go into classrooms and do classroom presentations, maybe pull kids out, 2 and 3 at a time who are working on something in common, do a little group with them. There might be some individual cases where you're working with kids. And then it's also a lot of consultation. So you're consulting with teachers, you're consulting with parents, you're even consulting with the administration. So I like that part of it too. So it's really broad-based. In terms of what a typical day looks like, there is no such thing as a typical day.
That's right.
So I go in the morning and I have plans and things that I want to do, and it doesn't always happen. So yes. So if I get a few things done, that's great. But then there's always things that do get done. Might not be my plan, but it gets done.
Wow. Definitely requires a lot of flexibility on your part, it sounds like.
Yes, that is true. That is true. You have to be flexible for sure.
And you work with a wide variety of people in different, types of positions, teachers and administrators and students and parents. And from what I know, you've been working at the elementary level for a majority of your time as a psychologist. Is that correct?
Yeah, probably 95% of my time.
Okay. Wow. What a real privilege to be able to work with children all the time.
Yeah.
What would you say that children can teach us as a society nowadays?
That's an interesting question, because they do really teach us a lot of things. And the one thing that I really think they do teach us is resiliency. No matter what we try to do as adults to mess them up, but they still come back and they're persistent. And so resiliency is one of them. Adaptability is another one. For the most part, kids are really adaptable. You have certain kids who really like structure and routine, and of course I do too. But then they are really adaptable, and you can kind of change things on the fly with them or introduce something new to them and see how they handle it. So those are some of the things. So it's nice to get into that kid mind and kind of use that kid mind.
Yeah. Yeah. So they teach us resilience and just that they can keep going despite some of the things that adults kind of put on them or mess up with them, so for a lack of a better phrasing.
That's right.
Now, why don't we head down here?
Okay.
This is an interesting pathway.
Yeah. It's nice and shady and cool down here.
Yeah, it sure is. Sure is. Okay. So you mentioned before that you get to do counseling with kids. I'm curious, working with a whole generation, literally, of children, what kind of, what gives you hope about the future of mental health when it comes to that area?
Yeah. Oh, that's the future of it. I guess it's the same kind of thing. It is adapting. When we talk about mental health, it used to be really stigmatizing.
Yes.
Kind of back in my day growing up. I don't even remember my school psychologist at the high school level. I'm sure we had someone.
Right.
But it's almost mental health has been seen as a weakness.
Yeah.
And so eliminating that stigma, I think, is happening, and it's a slow process. But it's been starting with the kids. And so in my role, the kids, they know I'm a counselor kind of in general, but I let them know that I'm a helper.
Yeah.
And so I'm a professional helper is what I tell them, and I help them to solve problems. And so trying to eliminate the stigma of going to the school psychologist's office or something like that is what I'm really hopeful for.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be any difference between taking care of your physical health and taking care of your mental health.
Right.
Those should be the same things.
Right.
And it's coming along. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like a lot of progress has been made
Yes.
in that area already.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you come across any other sort of misconceptions about mental health in your day-to-day interactions with people?
Sometimes with the kids, you do. They think that, oh, I have ADHD, I have anxiety, I have depression. And so that's what kind of rules my behavior.
Yeah.
And so this mental health has control over me. And so it's kind of trying to eliminate that misconception, saying that, no, you need to have control over your anxiety, your depression, your ADHD. That's not a pass to do whatever you want or to feel miserable all the time.
Right.
Right? Yeah, so that's another misconception, is that's who you are. I'm a kid with anxiety, and that's just a small part of who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes we get caught up in labels, which in circumstances can be really helpful because it can provide some treatment. But I think we often see people who get so caught up on the label that it becomes who they are.
Right.
And like you said, it's just a small part.
Yeah, you don't want it to define you.
Right. Yeah, I love that.
And then you also want to kind of, take hold of it too.
Yeah.
That is a part of you. It shouldn't be something that you're embarrassed about.
Yeah.
We all deal with different things. I have bad knees or whatever. And that's just part of who I am.
Yeah. So it's finding that balance. It sounds like.
Yes, finding that balance.
Full identity to, like, on the other end, being totally embarrassed and not acknowledging it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. I love that. I love that tricky balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, obviously we've been talking a lot about mental health, and so it's always really important to me to find out what you, as a human being yourself, what you do on a day-to-day basis to help yourself just be well and mentally strong.
Yes. I try to really focus on the things that I have control over. And so we've had some conversations about this before. It's really kind of a minimalist approach to things.
Yes.
And so when you talk about minimalism, everyone thinks that's all the clutter, all the junk in your house.
Yeah.
But it's also eliminating that mental clutter.
Yes.
And making good choices about what things are for you to worry about and what things are for other people to worry about.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's owning those things for you, but not taking on everyone else's issues. And so that's one of the things that I really try to do, is just make sure that I'm taking care of what I can take care of. And there's a famous saying about that, right? That'll go into it, you know, grant me the peace to
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's one thing. So I really try to focus on just things for me. Almost like eliminating too many activities, like, you know, not doing everything that people want me to do, you know, this party and this wedding and this bridal shower. And so those kinds of things. So that really helps me a lot to really condense down the things that are important for me to do, and my family, of course. Yeah. But then I like to do things like this. Get outside. Outside is really what recharges me, and it's when I do my best thinking too.
Yeah. Wow.
So walking in the park, I live just a few minutes away from here, so I walk in here every morning.
Oh wow.
Early in the morning when it's quiet. And I also like gardening. Yeah, because you know the plants don't talk back, and they give their best effort. And it's up to me to make sure that I don't mess it up.
That's right.
By overwatering or by planting in the wrong location or things like that. Yeah, so that's another thing. So yeah, really outdoors, and just trying really to be intentional on the things that I pick to do, choose to do, and the things that I let go and say, it's all right.
Wow.
I don't need to do that.
Yeah, and so it's not just freeing the physical clutter, but the mental clutter as well.
Yes. Yeah.
What's like maybe one or two things that you would, if somebody were to start off on that type of path where they're like, hey, I need to just eliminate just the clutter of my mind. What's like maybe the step one, step two maybe, of the first things they should sort of push aside to help with that clutter?
Yeah. So I think the first thing is to look at the activities. How many activities are you doing outside of your house that really don't bring you joy? That you're doing it because you think you have an obligation, you have a necessity, you should be doing it. So trying to look at those activities first and seeing if you can downsize that a little bit. And that's hard, but you know, learning to say no without any explanation. Right?
Tricky.
Yes, is a very tricky thing to do, because you always feel like you have to explain to someone why you don't want to do something.
Yes.
And there are times when you just don't want to do it, right? It's like, I just don't want to do this.
Right.
And so that's the first thing. I guess that should probably be the first thing, is learning how to say no without an explanation, and then cutting back on those activities.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that a lot. Yeah. Because we overschedule ourselves, probably because we haven't mastered that concept, or even come close to mastering that concept of being like, no, I'm not going to do that. It's not worthwhile for my goals or my needs.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And to kind of go along with that, there shouldn't be anything wrong with, you know, not overscheduling yourself.
Yeah.
So enjoying the downtime. You know, whatever you do, maybe you meditate, maybe you do yoga, maybe you go to church, whatever that is, whatever you can find that kind of spiritual connection and enjoy that downtime. That's how you're going to kind of revive yourself, really. Yeah.
I love that a lot.
Yeah.
You've definitely experienced a lot of, I guess, ways of dealing with a whole lot of experiences with being a school psychologist for so many years, having children that have grown up and they're doing their own thing. And so you've had a lot of good life experiences. You know, an important part of an interview like this is to that I want to find out, because we're walking a mile in your shoes. I'm curious about maybe a time or two in your life when you felt like, wow, like I am severely tested right now. My mental health is really challenged right now. I'm curious about a time when that was the case, and how you got through it, or how you managed to get through a time like that.
I'm pretty lucky because I'm kind of an even keel kind of guy. I don't experience real high highs or really low lows.
Yeah.
But when I do get kind of in a funk or down in the dumps, or whatever expression you want to use, it generally comes from a physical ailment.
Oh, okay.
And so it's usually my knees or my ankles or something like that. Just recently, I was diagnosed with H. pylori.
Okay.
And then, went on medication for that. But I wasn't diagnosed for a long time, and I've probably had it since kind of like last May 2024.
Okay.
And so that caused me to be, very tired, not wanting to do anything. And so I went to my primary care physician a couple times, and we couldn't figure that out, what was going on. And we finally did come to H. pylori, and so that was diagnosed.
Yeah.
But during that time, I really was trying to reflect and think, is this like a depression? Am I moving into a depression because I'm not finding things enjoyable that I used to? I have no appetite. I want to sleep all the time. And so trying to use some of those, some of those interventions of just forcing yourself to go outside, forcing yourself to be around people, because sometimes you have to do that in just those little small steps, so that you can get out of that funk. Now, again, mine was more a physical thing. Once I got on the medication, went through the treatment, I've started coming out of that. So it's those things. It's really just trying to challenge yourself to doing very small things. And it's kind of like when you're trying to get healthy, you see a lot of people walking here in the park. When you're trying to get healthy, you try to change your diet, you try to exercise more. But how long is that really going to take you? Will that take you 3 days? And then are you going to be that athlete who's running the marathon? Or is that going to take you 6, 8, 12 months, 2 years? Something like that to get ready. So it's kind of like that with your mental health as well. You have to start very small. Pick something that you can do. If it's just getting outside and walking around the block, that's great. So start there, and then you can start adding more and more as you're feeling better about it. If you're not feeling better about it, stay where you are. It's all right where you are. And you don't compare yourself to other people. You compare yourself, you want to improve on yourself, right? So that's the person you're running the race with.
Right.
You're trying to improve on yourself every day.
I love that idea of just focusing on yourself. Just self-improvement, as an expression I like to say is you against you, right?
Yeah, you against you. I love that.
Don't worry about what they're doing over there.
That's right.
And then, just start small, just try one extra thing, and kind of build on that. And in your case, it's kind of a good reminder of physical health, mental health, and how it's all health.
Yes, they go together. That's right. One of these days we will be calling it health.
Health.
Yes.
Not mental health, not physical health, just health. All right.
Right.
And so that was the case with you, and what you've been dealing with is that idea that this is just health.
That's
love
right.
That. Love that.
I see it in the schools all the time in my elementary schools. Kids comparing themselves to the other kids. And it's like, no. You're not running that race with them. You're running your own race.
What do you normally tell those kids besides kind of what you just said there? Someone who may really be struggling and kind of needs that extensive help because they're so worried about how they compare to Billy or Jane or somebody over there.
It's really setting goals for them. Just might be daily or weekly. Okay, let's see if you can get this done today. And so you really move the focus back to them, away from the peers, and say, okay, let's try this. Let's have you get this number of assignments done, or stay in class this long, or whatever it is. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so moving that focus away from the group to just them, just really individual.
Yeah, and that definitely is a process, I'm sure. Huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Well, we are getting just about done with our mile here.
Oh, great.
The sun has definitely come out on us today. We
Yes.
left our little hidden grove there, and it's kind of like a jungle, it felt like.
Yeah.
And then we came out to all the sunshine.
Yeah.
Well, as we finish up here, you know, I'm curious. You know, an important part of these types of interviews is thinking about people who may be really struggling. Somebody who maybe have trauma they're dealing with, or just other types of mental health challenges. I'm curious because that can be a small child, that can be a teenager, that can be an adult. Whoever may be watching this that is struggling along those lines, I would like to hear just what you would have to say to that person.
Yeah. You know, it's like in some of the TV shows where it's like, we're gonna get the bad guy, we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's really hard to promise those kinds of things, because you want to say things are going to get better. But it's hard to know that things are going to get better. So it's finding those little things that you can change.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just keep moving, you know, one step forward. The other thing you want to do is to surround yourself with a group of people, or whoever it would be, your family, your friends. Sorry, I'm a little out of breath.
Yeah, we did go up a little bit of a hill there, huh?
That little incline got me. So you want to surround yourself with people that you can trust.
Yeah.
And I talk to the kids about that too. You know, who's a trusting adult that you can talk to about this? And so you want to find that, whatever you call it, your village, your tribe, your ride and die.
Yeah.
So you want to look for those people who are going to pump you up.
Yeah.
And so as much as you can get to them and they can get to you, because you do want to surround yourself with those people, especially the ones who are the positive ones, because we know, you know, this is an old behavioral principle, back to Pavlov's dog.
Yes.
That you know about this. The behavior that we notice or that is reinforced, we're going to get more of that behavior.
Yes.
So you want to talk, and you want to speak, and you want to do actions, and you want to be that helping adult, looking for all the positive things that maybe that person who's going through a mental health struggle is doing, that you can focus on. So I had this with a family member. This family member had a friend, and every time the friend would call, the family member would say, "What's wrong?" You know, right after picking up the phone.
Yeah.
And so then the person on the other line would just go into everything that's wrong.
Oh, wow.
But it's just reframing that and saying something like, "It's so nice to hear your voice." You know, when you pick up the phone, and it's, so you're looking for those positive things, because the positive things that we reinforce are going to be strengthened, and they're going to happen more and more often, rather than focusing on the negatives. So your question, I kind of went a different route on that.
Oh, that's great.
Your question about what can someone do who's watching this is to, I guess, surround yourself with those people who are going to build you up. You know, and the ones that we all have those friends, right? They're just negative, or they find something wrong, or those kinds of things. You'll have to decide if you really need those people in your life. Are they positive for you? Or not?
Right. Kind of goes back to your sort of decluttering the mental space.
Yes, exactly. So you don't want to keep caustic things around. That could be whatever it is, you know, people, stuff. So you want to get rid of the stuff that's not helping you out.
Right. Okay. So getting rid of the things that aren't helping you, surrounding yourself with not only positive people, but positive thoughts too.
Positive thoughts. That's very fair to say. Yes. Yes. So yeah, thinking happy thoughts, right?
Yeah, because some people will say like, yeah, positive thinking is really important, and then you have some group that says, it doesn't matter. You feel like that's really important to think positively.
Yeah, I really think so too. And even visualizing the positives. So whenever I'm meeting with kids, I try to teach them about visualization and finding ways to relax and calm yourself down. So mine always goes to a beach. So I tell them about this, and my eyes are closed and I'm picturing this beach, and I'm sitting on the beach and it's warm. It's about 80 degrees. There's a wind that's coming off of the ocean, and I can feel that wind and kind of taste that ocean breeze. And then you hear the sound of the waves crashing, and it's like, oh yes, I'm hearing the waves crashing, and I'm digging my feet into the sand. I feel that little tingly in the sand. And so, visualization, things like that, where you're seeing, you're smelling, you're feeling, those kinds of things. So try to pick a place that takes you visualize a place that takes you to that kind of calm area where you want to be. Yeah, so mine always goes back to the beach. I'm from California, so that's where I go back to.
That calm place, and to actually visualize it. There's so much power in visualizing the outcomes or the places where we want to be.
Yeah, so if you're struggling with some kind of a crisis, you can do that just right on your own. And you can close your eyes and you can do that and find your place. Where was a place when you felt happy? And you felt positive, you're smiling and those kinds of things. So that's something everyone should do every day.
I agree with that. I love that. I love that idea of thinking that way. Well, Steve, we've eclipsed 1 mile.
Wow, look at us go.
We've walked a mile in your shoes today. Wow, I appreciate you taking the time today, and for all the wisdom and support you've given to me over the years as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jared. Appreciate you too. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Yes,
appreciate
proud of you. See ya.